Temecula for 2 weeks. I just finished reviewing my video logs, vlog from the previous year and keeping notes on what's in there. Why did I do that? I started it a few weeks ago, actually, and it was because I was experiencing some significant writer's block and I needed some other creative outlet to, I don't know, relieve some pressure. A little travel update. So yeah, been here in Temecula for 2 weeks. Had only intended to stay a week, but just the holidays was hard. Not like it was like a lot of crying and loneliness. No, I made sure that I got what I needed as far as family time. I saw my mom, I saw my son, my grandchildren. It's only been 4 months since dad died. And this was the first holiday without him. I wanted to make sure that I was present. And the time between to be here for a week when I also had therapy clients 2 days just wasn't quite enough. Thanksgiving felt like such a rush. I spent 2 nights in Temecula for Thanksgiving. And it really, the way that I looked at it is we're just going to get through this. It was a quiet day, still pleasant, played games all day, and we just managed to get through it. And it was the same with Christmas. Grief is a process, and you don't know how anyone is going to be reacting or responding to anything until they're in it. From my perspective now, having to experience so much loss, I handle my grief differently than I did as a younger woman. And so for me, grief it doesn't look like crying and being depressed and feeling sorry for myself. It doesn't look like reaching out to people to talk on the phone or to meet up with them or distract myself in that way. To me, it looks like just little tasks like sweeping the floor and feeding the dog, taking the dog on a walk, unless I don't feel like it. And then I just put him out on the cable and play fetch. Or it looks like doing my laundry or just taking care of little things. It definitely doesn't look like sitting down and writing a novel or taking care of business. Admittedly, some of the tasks that I normally do for business have been set aside. I'm not doing them. It's probably going to kick my butt later. But right now, I have to just allow myself to just sit with the grief. Holidays were hard. I have the delusion of what my life was going to be when my kids were grown and became parents and I became a grandparent. I had a different idea completely about what that was going to look like. So now here I am. It's a new year. I have officially been doing this trailer life for a year. I have no intention of stopping it. There's nothing here for me in Temecula. Honestly, I've been here 2 weeks and I haven't reached out to one person besides my family to let them know I'm here. And not that I don't care about them. Honestly, I just didn't feel like sharing my story. I didn't feel like having any grief moments with friends. I didn't feel very social at all. I was happy to just lay low and enjoy my granddaughters. I got to have 2 separate sleepovers, best medicine ever. And several times I made sure to actually acknowledge that I was very present in the time that I had my granddaughters. I wasn't thinking about other things. I wasn't frustrated with anything. I just sat with them and enjoyed them and cooked for them and played games with them. We just had a nice time together, me and my granddaughters. Saw my mom several times. I'll tell you, taking her back home after an event is heartbreaking, but she is in the best place that she can be. It's been a really tough season this past 6 weeks or so. I need a kickstart in the butt to be social. That is one thing that I want to do, but I didn't want to do it here in Temecula. And I think because I didn't want to answer the questions, where have you been? What have you been up to? How are you doing? All this. I want to start with new, fresh people who don't need to know all of this. And if I want to just be social and go have some laughs and drink some beers or listen to jokes or listen to music or whatever, I can just let it be that. A place for me to kind of my bearings after all of this grief stuff and the high expectations I had that I was just going to be able to, I don't know, fast track it. Fast track my grief. It was impossible. You haven't even touched dead air just before my dad died. And I have some other things that I've kind of like fiddling with, but that's just sort of an idea will come and I want to make sure I document it. But I'm not really actually sitting down with the purpose of, I'm going to write. I've actually even, I think it was like 3 weeks, almost a month before I even wrote in my journal. I've just been avoiding it. And I realized that is one of the things that I do when I'm grieving. I don't want to touch my journal. I did this when my brother Brad died. I did it when Buck died. I reviewed the journal. I know I wrote a lot, but I was still only a 19, 20-year-old girl. So different, just way different. But it's been, I don't want to say it's not a roller coaster ride because there hasn't been any ups, but but the downs haven't been as bad. I've been here probably because I had Reagan and Heidi, and they're just such a joy. You own my heart because after February, March, my goal is to go east, New Mexico, tour around New Mexico a little bit, then maybe up in Colorado, maybe Montana, Wyoming on the snow melts during the summer. That is the tentative plan for now. Subject to change because going 100% solo doesn't seem as appealing to me now as maybe caravanning with a few people, being able to share some experiences, maybe having some socialization to pepper in with the isolation. I still want to be writing, but I could be doing that in different hours. It is like finding that, well, finding anything because I haven't even been tempting it, but I don't need 5 full days a week to do nothing but write when I'm just not functioning as in the high capacity that I would normally be doing. There are some other business things that I would like to be attempting to accomplish. That too, I don't want to do alone. Whether it's Apple a day, the audio feature, getting syndication and radio, I don't even know if that's doable right now, or getting somebody to take merchandising for the License to Be Badass brand and running with that. 2 separate ideas and directions, but I'm really putting it out there into the universe that I would like a partner, a collaborator, somebody to work with, somebody to bounce ideas off of so that I don't have to learn and do it all by myself because it's not as fun. It's just not as fun. And frankly, other people have skills that I lack. So anyway, these are some of my ramblings on this rainy morning. It's Wednesday, so it's between therapy days. I leave Friday, so mentally I'm kind of preparing to leave again. Emotionally, I'm still kind of, it's only been 4 months since my dad died, like 4.5 months. That's all. It seemed like so much longer. And like, I keep thinking that I should be further along, like I should be more okay than I am right now. And, I said earlier, it's grief to me doesn't look like crying and laying in my bed all day, sleeping or whatever. It has looked like, watching the whole series of Yellowstone, which I had not watched before. It's like I had been adamantly not watching any kind of programs. But something about this, I just needed to be mindlessly not in my own world. And I was grateful for that. I don't want to make it a habit, though. That's not where I want to be. I want to be hiking. I really want to cut out the sugar and get back to, I don't know, some gentle yoga or doing my hikes and stuff. There's things I want to do to improve my physical body. And I realized that in part of my grief process, I want more sound healing and more Reiki. I know I had talked about doing that, and that was part of my intention. And then I got injured a few times. So everything was delayed. And I just had to realize that I am not supposed to be healing right now. I'm supposed to be grieving, work on the healing later. Because I'm doing well. I'm not great. I'm treading water is how I'm doing right now with my grief. I'm not sinking, but I'm definitely not swimming. I'm just treading water. And I'd like to start working on making those shifts that I need, that I want to make. And I want to start writing again. I've started a little poem, but this other novel that has been kind of chipping away at me, it's not, I don't want to say it's based on a true story. The characters are based on real people, though, and a real circumstance, but the story is not anywhere near what has occurred and made up. It's called the Radio and Records Cafe. So I think for a little while, I might be bouncing back and forth from Dead Air to Radio and Records Cafe. Chris, who was my accountability partner, and we talked to each other once a week about our writing process, has encouraged me to use this workbook that I bought called Save Cat, details for your book, to kind of start fleshing out some ideas. And he opened up notes. I've realized I already have a ton here. It might be something that helps just spark some more creativity, because I literally have writer's block with the whole Dead Air novel, and it disappoints me. Like I'm somehow failing to live up to what I started. And I need to kind of deal with that. It's something else. See, it's not like I have a publisher who's waiting for me to finish it. It's not like I've been sharing about it with people and I'm going to look like an idiot if I don't do it. This is just all me. But I look over here because I have post-its that I've put up there that are all about chapters. And so it reminds me every day. They've been up there for months. And I look at them all the time. But I just can't get myself to sit down and actually write. So do you want to see what's going on here? You want to see yourself? You want to see yourself? Say hi, Kismet. And a big kiss. I was watching the videos that I've done, and he shows up in many of them. And so as I'm watching those, he comes and watches the computer, then watches the dog on the computer. It's funny. We watch golden retriever videos together pretty often. I don't want to say all the time, because that would be exaggerate. Pretty often, because I follow these golden retrievers on Instagram. Because I made an Instagram page for Kismet, and I have like 17 followers. I'm a deal. I'm not looking for followers. It was just like, where am I going to put all these pictures of my dog? I keep following all these golden retrievers, so I'm figuring, well, let them see mine too, and that's what I do. And so he is fascinated by watching other retrievers. So, Ole, yeah, an update. So it's a brand new year. I'd say I have a brand new attitude. One thing I will point out is a word of the year. I've been doing this, I think, a word of the year for about 8 years now. I talked about it before. And so last year, my word was abundance. And boy, did I learn those lessons about abundance. And I did share that before as well in another video, that it wasn't about an abundance of money. I did have an abundance of freedom. But I also had other things in abundance as well. I have to review those later. But right now, I've discovered what my new word for 2024 is. And it's adventure. It came out of nowhere, honestly. It obviously something that is going to happen in 2024. And remember, there's always negative stuff that comes in with the word as well. And so I was almost kind of raised like, oh dear, what? But when I was issued my first word, when I was instructed was my first word, because you don't take it yourself. It's a word that really comes to you through prayer. It started out as a Bible study, but my first word was humility. And at first I was like, what? Am I going to be humiliated? But it wasn't about that. I mean, it was some sort of humiliating experiences that occurred during that year, but if they weren't, I got over them. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it was about being humble in service and being humble in the work that I do. And it was great. And I've had other words, love, acceptance, peace. All of these things have all led up to where I am today. So last year was abundance, and this year is going to be adventure. So I'm off to an adventure, and I can't let anything hold me back. And I don't need to rush through it. It's not like I haven't seen the United States. That's not the point. I have traveled the country several times. This time I get to have my own adventure. I'm going where I want to go. And I don't really have any burning desire to go somewhere specific. National parks are definitely not. I don't really care to go to the national parks, only just because they're overcrowded and a little overrated with the overcrowding. I do have a couple of things I want to do. I'd like to kind of have a plan, like not just be random, but pick some sort of an event that I want to attend. And I don't know what that is yet. I don't know if they're like spirituality conferences or educational conferences on neuroscience and on heart math or shamanic healing, or I don't know. I wanted to learn stuff. Then I got hit with some financial problems, and then I got hit with my dad dying. And it's like, so the first year out has not really been exactly what I intended. Yet on the other hand, it was, because I did my life review and I burned all my journals and I wrote an awesome poem about it and really cuttered myself out. And then I took a writing course and learned how to do writing a novel, which is completely different than anything I've ever done. So it wasn't a waste. It just didn't actually turn out how I envisioned it. So for 2024, the word's venture. And I am not going to overthink it. I'm just going to enjoy it. And I'm just going to have it, an adventure. All right, that's it for me. I got to do whatever it is I got to do with this dog because I wants to play and I got to go play with, because this is my purpose. Play with the dog. Simple tasks. Simple tasks help you work through the grief. Sometimes that's all you can do is just breathe and take it one day at a time. All right, The Adventures of Kelly and Kismet. To be determined, Flake.